This video was brought to you by a 6-year-old CPU and a 4-year-old 9 teraflop GPU, all while running this game at 1440p, completely maxed out at 165 frames per second. Now, onto the failure that is this generation. You know, sometimes I wish I wasn't always right, but unfortunately, I am always right. What's going on, everybody? It's Q here from Retro Q Gaming, and well, 4 days is all it took. 4 days. Almost coincidentally, this is Microsoft's fourth console generation. 4 days before they've already backtracked and destroyed everything, and have now gone from 100% ever being referred to by me from the Xbox Series X. Not even going to call it the Xbox. From now on, it is called the Xbox Series L, because they are already taking a massive L 4 days after a promise that they've already broken. Now we'll get into the details on this now in a moment, but you can blame whichever company you want. You can blame such and such and such and such. I will blame Microsoft 100% for not making this a 100% minimum mandate for every single developer and publisher on their console. Now, what are we talking about here? Well, you might remember over the last year or so, whenever Microsoft would talk about their new next generation super powerful 12 teraflop console, that they will bandy around things like 4K 60, ray tracing, 120 frames per second, and now, here we are, 4 days after the quote gameplay, unquote, next gen, unquote, reveal, if you will. The same time where Microsoft said that 60 FPS would be the standard default output, which you may remember I correctly assumed they were intentionally using misleading language to muddy up the waters a little bit. Well, here we are watching them taking that L at 30 frames per second. That's right, Ubisoft have confirmed, like many theorized, as it was missing the appropriate badges, and it was never ever once referred to in all press materials like every single other one was using as a shiny badge of honor, that Assassin's Creed Valhalla on Xbox Series L, the world's most powerful console, is running at 30 frames per second. That's it. That's all I can say. Now, there are, of course, other games out there running at 4K 60. They're aiming to run at 4K 60, I should say. They're aiming to use ray tracing. They're just aiming to do everything, because all we've seen at this point is running on a PC. But all I can say is, boyos, settle in. You're taking L's this entire generation again. To be honest, probably the PS5 will in this regard too, but that's beside the point. We don't 100% know that yet. The point I am making is Microsoft done fucked up royally by not making this a 100% mandate for all publishers and developers that their game needs to target and almost exclusively run at 60 frames per second. When you have a huge PR, hype, marketing rush and all of this, and everything says 4K 60 frames per second, 120 frames per second, ray tracing this, ray tracing that, next gen, most powerful console in the world, 12 teraflops, and right out of the gate, one of the very first things you ever show off is 4K 30. I'm going to be keeping a tally, and so far, we're already at 2 L's. What's the other one? No exclusives.